like
who's happier than Tyron Woodley right now?
That's my point.
This guy's getting Jake Paul's name tattooed on his thigh.
So is he actually doing it?
I think he's like in his head. He's like, this is worth $5 million. Another $5 million.
My concern is that because it was already a bet and there was no that Jake Paul makes him do it and then doesn't fight him anyway.
Yeah, Jake Paul could be like literally like
let it linger for a month where he has the tattoo and then be like, never mind. And then by that time, for a whole month, there's content of that's my concern about Woodley Gang is I don't want Jake's a finagler. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't, you know what I mean? And if I'm his management, I'm not taking that rematch. I see zero reason there's no upside for Jake Paul to rematch Tyron Woodley, in my opinion. As his manager, there's zero upside. But you watched him get hurt. He went 8 rounds.
Tyron Woodley's going to figure out a better game plan to beat you the next time.
I'm not playing with that again. For what?
Yeah, for what? Yeah.
And you didn't even have to fight a guy that tough. Like, let's be honest. Tommy Fury, you fought a less athletic, less notable MMA version of Woodley. Hey, that Anthony...
How do you think Tommy Fury would do against Jake Paul?
Brother, who looked more impressive against their competition? I look at 2 MMA guys, Woodley and this guy who's never won a championship. Who looked more impressive? Yeah, obviously. I think he could beat Fury. I don't know.
Between that guy fighting Tyron Woodley, I don't even know. What's his name, by the way?
So this is what I think is going to happen. And I think Jake Paul would be genius for this, and I think he knows it work. I think you get Woodley and Tommy Fury as your co-main event on your next fight. It's neither of them are going to turn down.
That makes sense.
Neither going to turn down. Everyone
you can market it as the winner gets a shot at Jake Paul.
Everyone involved in this wants to see that question because you're hearing that's the 2 arguments you're seeing. The people want to see Jake Paul lose, right? Their argument is they want to see those 2 fights because you want to see him lose. I get it. But if you're like a fan...
At this point, he's pissed off boxing community and the MMA community.
So
he's outboxing MMA guys.
What better way? What better way to trick them into this? I think he's looking at this Vitor Belfort De La Hoya fight because this is the thing. I don't think you fight Vitor if he wins because he's juiced to the gills. Like if he has some vision out. But if De La Hoya like outboxes Vitor, I think you'd go after De La Hoya if you're...
I mean, this is the state of combat sports. I never really thought that I'd be talking about Jake Paul the way we are like right now.
Vitor Belfort and De La Hoya.
But I mean...
We're in the twilight zone, bro. Between what's going on in the actual world and like this conversation, Vitor Belfort versus De La Hoya, like...
I never would have seen that coming.
Even at their peak, let's say 2007, it sounds crazy still. Like, wow. At no point...
I want to see the most TRT'd Vitor, like you said.
Have you seen the videos and pictures?
Oh, my God. He looks just jacked.
But now De La Hoya is looking like he's on some new supplements, too.
Yeah. He looks like his head grew.
So, if I'm Jake Paul, I don't fight Vitor if he wins because you don't know how dangerous Vitor really is. Like, let's say he knocks out De La Hoya.
And Vitor was known as a boxer. Don't forget, he was wasn't he like a...
He was like undefeated for a while. He was like 11-0 at one point, and he had like mad knockouts. He was a boxer. Just like, what's his name? The Cuban that... Woodley that was after Woodley recently. Hector Lombard, yeah. He had a good I wouldn't go.
Anderson Silva had a pro boxing record.
But let's say De La Hoya outboxes Vitor and Vitor doesn't look good. I think you go after De La Hoya. I mean,
imagine
that would
beating a former world champion like that.
And this is what's interesting about that. This is where you can drag out a Floyd Mayweather. I'm not being funny, and I think a lot of fight fans...
because Jake wants a real fight. He doesn't want an exhibition match, right?
Oh, yeah, exactly. And this is the other thing is, I don't think people really understood how popular this kid was. I didn't know who Jake Paul was before all this. I knew about his brother. Jake Paul's a lot bigger than Floyd, man. But that fight would have the possibility to break one of Floyd's records. And I think if Jake Paul was able to do something like that, I could see Mayweather's ego pulling him out of retirement. And I'm sorry, I hate to say it, at Floyd Mayweather's age and his size and watching how he looked against his brother who's not even close to as good, that could be a dangerous fight.